Thank you. A little technical difficulty here. Let's.
While Barry gets started, he will be here presenting highlights on student services, which is one of our amazing programs.
Yeah.
Literally, we're laptop's gonna die, so he's
Oh no.
Well, at least as a full service supervisor.
Exactly. There's so many jokes running through my head. I wasn't sure which one to pull out. I made my boss climb under the table.
That's as far as it, I
That's
don't
it?
think there's
Yeah.
a.
Okay. You know what? Let's.
Is there no power plug right under where,
No,
there's no power bar,
No.
is what I was referring to, wondering.
You wanna just try it
Okay.
and
Hey,
then?
we're gonna power through this. All right.
You're trying.
All right. Hey, I told you it was gonna be fascinating, right? Off to a great start.
Exciting.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys having me out today. Hope you guys are having a great day. It's finally starting to cool down a little bit. We'll just jump right into it. So, you know, why do we need to be here? Why does ESS matter? And you know, we all know that each and every student is going to be safe inside the borders, but it's up to us to also make sure that we're providing all the support that each and every student deserves. And you know, constantly reconnecting or furthering our communications with not only the support on the campus, but outside the campus as well. You know, not every student is going to have homework, or at least that's what they tell us. But we've done a lot of partnerships with principals, teachers, DO staff to make sure that we have homework calendars or access to Jupiter grades where we as the ESS staff can say, no, not only do you have homework, you have missing assignments, and this is your time after school to work on those missing assignments. And a lot of teachers will give you partial credit or full credit. The social and emotional growth within ESS, we're, again, just continuously working closely with everybody that we can to make sure that we are setting up each and every child for success before they get to us. And reaching out to parents for any and all information that we need to know on our registration for behaviorally, 504s, IEPs, medical conditions, so that we can reach out to the proper channels ahead of time. And then just offering opportunities in every aspect, right? Continuing to grow our arts program. We have connections through art that you were able to see the other day. We have musical instructors and teachers that come in and help out with our kiddos. Sports is a big draw for a lot of our kids, and robotics. So just making sure that we offer that. Ensure programs meet student needs, right? It's pretty simple. Do we have everything that is meeting the needs and the wants of the kiddos and their families? We're reaching all families. Can they even get access to our forms? You know, are we making sure that there's equal access to get to our forms? Do we need to print them? Do they need to come to my office and pick them up? Do they need to have face-to-face conversations for any inclarities? Is it in the right language? Are they even able to read it? Those are just the simple ones. And then again, do we have the supports reaching out to all of our connections? One of my biggest goals this year is, okay, reaching the mountain, now staying on the mountain. We need to keep that high accountability for all the staff going around. Speaking of reaching the mountain, here's just a little piece of that, you know, ESS champions pumpkin carving. Not just pumpkin carving, but making a full carousel complete with music and rotation. So just, you know, just a little reminder here as we come up to the next one. Who's on top? You know, and what our framework's going to look like going forward. So it's pretty simple here. We're collecting the data. A lot of the data comes straight from the kids, straight from the families. Communications that we have, we're all very, very accessible. Whether it's my staff, most of them have points of contacts more than once a day. Parents drop off in the morning and are able to chat with them. They pick up in the afternoon, they're able to chat with them. My cell phone number is plastered on our email, or plastered on our website. It's in every single email that I put out. Our address is posted. We're very, very accessible. And then our plan is, okay, identifying our strengths and where we need to grow and putting that in place. The training, the resources, meeting with all of those people that I've talked about throughout this presentation, both on campus and through the district. And we monitor and we address as needed. A lot of this too comes through our summer program where we have the kids 12 hours a day, just about every single day over summer for all 9 weeks. And you know, there's times where we have to pivot, where we think we have this great idea for a rotation, and the feedback from the kids is like, yeah, I'm not so interested. And so we go back to them and say, okay, well, what would you be interested in? I'm hearing that cell phones and food is a big one, so let's lean into that a little bit. And so, yeah, it's coming up with curriculum that is, you know, going to be, you know, not only an extension of the school day, but also something that we can tweak just a little bit to keep them engaged and not feel that, okay, if you really don't have homework, how can we give you some enrichment activities that's fun and engaging in your school learning? A lot of training, a lot of different trainings, especially with, you know, the larger groups of students with special needs, and again, just making sure that they're set up for success. Family engagement, again, very, very accessible. So I feel that we do have a really good working relationships with a lot of families. They feel comfortable coming to me, whether it's at pickup and I'm out front, opening doors and closing doors, or through email or phone. You know, and again, there's a lot of diverse student needs out there, and we want to make sure that we are set up before they come to us so that it's a seamless transition. And where we are right now is we have over 1,000 families, and when you include all of the siblings, we're over 1,300 students served, whether it's before school, after school, or both. Again, partnerships, 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 that's kind of the theme here, that we're all working together, that we're all serving the same kids. It's not before school kids, it's not after school kids, it's not school kids, it's all of our kids. And that we're basing on the things that we do off of the kids, because if it's not for the kids, then we're not going to be here, we don't have the job. And then just one thing that I'm super, super proud of is we are homegrown. We have a lot of ESS students who become ESS staff, and a lot of them will tell me when they're middle schoolers, Mr. Merck, hey, I can't wait to get that walkie-talkie, my little rotation list, and start working for you as soon as I can. And they become our staff, and then we have 3 currently right now that are doing their student teaching within Lakeside, most of which end up teaching here in Lakeside, except for one went to El Cajon. Yeah, it's really cool to see the transition, and it's just, I guess it also shows my age that, yes, I was here now that we not only have kids that were with me when I was at Lakeview as a site lead, and then became one of my staff, and now we're teaching in a classroom, and now we're getting some of their kids coming through the program. So it's a really cool thing to see. Perfect timing. Oh, you know what? I do have time for just one more championship belt.
Oh my God.
Yes, in case you weren't able to make it to the rodeo grounds for the cornhole championship. This is a back-to-back championship belt, I might add. So. Yeah, you guys are looking to put together a team and take us down.
You're gonna make it a repeat this year?
I'm hoping so. Hoping so.
We're getting the golden spoon.
For the
Still
children.
got one run
You guys have any questions for me?
Any questions for Jared?
Yeah, sure. What are you going to get your bets on winning all that?
Yeah.
You know, I've looked it up on, you know, now that betting's legal in California, we are on a few different betting sites, and I think it's 7-1 right now for that.
Any questions? No?
Just thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you for everything that you do, because it is a lot of work. You have most students of any program. And I know we have a lot that are waitlisted, which just show what a great job your whole team is doing, and that
Yeah.
we probably need to look at how can we expand this to reach more students.
Yeah, and that's, the wait list is two-sided, right? Yes, it's great that there's so many families that, trust us and want to be with us. But on the other hand, that's families that we just aren't getting to. And we are, for the most part, are able to get students off the wait list throughout the year. But yeah, it's still a hardship for those 2 weeks or however long it is. So yeah, that is something that we are actively working on.
Well,
at all
it's
sites.
just a testament to what you guys have
Yeah,
done. with the
I appreciate it.
program.
Thank you.
So,
And
we
thank
really
you,
appreciate it.
thank you for what you do with
Yeah.
our kids. It's so really important.
Well, it's our pleasure. We have a great time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
work.
Yeah.
All right, trustee reports. We'll start with trustee Hayes.
Yes, so I'd like to actually start my report tonight for one of the cycles from Charlie Kirk, so if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. So, yeah, it's been a great back to school. I've been hitting all the different back to school nights, and it's nice to see all the teachers enjoying their new environment or old environment, depending on what site they're at. Some teachers I've seen have moved, and so it's nice to see their new place and see them excited to teach the kids and see how the year's going. So it's been really nice doing that. And then the only other thing I'd like to just mention is I did send a memo today to our superintendent regarding the traffic incident up at TDS. Very disturbing. It frustrated me to all end because, I think, to me at least, from my observation, it was very intentional, and there was we're working on a solution with law enforcement. We're working on some solutions to make sure somebody can't do that again. To me, that's just, it's just crazy. And so we need to make sure that we, ensure that doesn't happen in that area again, that can't be done. So, or working on some proactive ways to do that. So the superintendent's going to be working on scheduling some meetings and some things for us to get that addressed and explore some other options that might be at our disposal. So I'm very excited about that. Other than that, that's my report. Thank you.
Trustee Casper.
Yeah, it's a mixed day today, sadness and anger and hope. I had the pleasure of going to the several open houses of Lakeview Elementary, Lakeside Farms, and Riverview, and also earlier the ice cream social to the public, presented by our superintendent. And we also had a fire in our community, and I was there yesterday interviewing some of the victims. And it is 55 and older complex. However, there's kids probably there. I'm not sure if we're helping anybody, but 5 homes were lost. And it could have been a heck of a lot worse. It was bad. But tomorrow, we've been working RPA for 9 months now for our 6th annual 9/11 Memorial Walk and presentation. We're going to be at Mary's Donuts at 6 o'clock for instructions and photo opportunities and getting lined up. The church bell's going to ring at 6:15. The walk will be on the east side of Main Avenue, and we're going to have really some great musicians, speakers, community members, and more. And then the program will begin at about 6:30, and it'll be about 40 minutes. And so we hope you enjoy it. And our whole focus is 2 things: never forget, and always make it a family-friendly event. So we hope to see you there. We will be taping it, so and have that available to archive. So we hope to see you there. And I think I'm missing one open house today. Is it Linda Oregon, 3 Lily Crest, right? And I'm so sorry, but we rearranged the schedule because we were supposed to meet tomorrow. So earlier in the year, I had asked if we could change the date because we had the majority of board members at the 9/11 last year, and we hope to have everybody this year. So, but that's it.
Vice President Ellenson.
All right, and I'm gonna keep with the somber note of all of our comments tonight. But I've just been doing a lot of thinking about the Minnesota school violence event. I'm trying to keep it student friendly because we have some of our own students in the house tonight. But I really just wanted to thank the teachers and the staff. I know the trainings that they go through and the ways that they would do everything in their power to protect our students. And I know it weighs really heavily on the staff to have to go through all of those trainings. And I just wanted to say it doesn't go unnoticed, so I've just been thinking a lot about them. And then I also just wanted to bring up the 9/11 event, but I'm glad that Ron did, and I hope to see everybody there. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. For me, I attended all the same events, all the open houses, ice cream socials, all of that. Two things that we've done recently is we have started the canine detection events at the middle schools. So we did start with presentation to all the students of here's how it's going to work when they come on campus. But as a reminder, this is something we've started, I believe second year we're doing it. And so they'll be on campus once a month, sweeping different classrooms, looking for all sorts of different contraband. So that was a nice event to get to see how it works. And then Monday, the Health and Benefits Committee met where we discussed the rate increases for 2026, as well as the optional supplemental insurance programs that are available to our employees. And one last one is we have the Benefits Fair coming in October. That's going to be here in the boardroom on the 15th of October. If you're available to stop by, there will be a lot of good information for everyone there. All right, we will now move on to our opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any item. So this is any item on the agenda. I understand we probably today have some that are not on the agenda. Normally that happens at 5 o'clock, but we will allow it at the 6 o'clock. This is 4 minutes per person. As a reminder, this is your time to address the board, but the board cannot respond to any questions or make any comments, but we are always available outside of the board meeting to have any discussions with you. Rachel, do we have any public comment?
We do. Ms. Claire, are you ready to come up? Going to be speaking on epilepsy awareness.
All right. Hi everyone, my name is Claire Sia and I'm an 8th grade student at Lakeside Middle School. Today I just wanted to talk about something that is really important to me, epilepsy awareness in our schools. I have epilepsy, which means I sometimes have seizures. Even though it is a medical condition that a lot of people live with, many don't really know what it is or what to do if someone has a seizure. That is why awareness is so important. Imagine if someone in our school had a seizure and no one knew how to help. How scary would that feel for them? But if people were taught what to do, like staying calm and keeping the person safe and not being afraid, then a scary moment could turn into a safe one. Epilepsy awareness is also about kindness and understanding. Sometimes students with epilepsy feel different or even left out because others don't understand what they go through. If we learn about epilepsy in our school, we can break down stereotypes and replace them with compassion and support. By talking about epilepsy openly, we are not just helping people like me, we are creating a safer, stronger, and kinder school for everyone. Awareness makes a difference, and together we can make sure no one feels alone in what they are facing. As the National Epilepsy Teen Ambassador, I am making it my mission to bring epilepsy awareness and education to our district, and that starts with you. I have written a resolution that hopefully you have received to make epilepsy a priority by making November Epilepsy Awareness Month. I hope you will join me in this mission, and thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you.
So Ms. Kai, you wanna come up together? Okay.
Good evening, wonderful people. I'm Crystal Grosvenor. I'll read today. I'm speaking in support of the district's academic goal to support and maintain multilingual opportunities in our schools. My family came from out of district to Lakeside because of its incredible programs. I am now the parent of a 4th grader who's conversational in Mandarin and beginning Spanish, and a 6th grader in the Visual and Performing Arts program at LMS studying both Spanish and would-be Mandarin if they had a teacher. I'm here today to share a concern and ask for your immediate assistance in securing a Mandarin teacher for our 2 middle schools. Without the Confucius Institute contract, we no longer have a pipeline for the Mandarin-speaking student teachers, and there's currently no job posting or contract in place. Families like mine made major life adjustments for this program because we know how powerful language learning is for brain development, for future opportunities, and for the seal of triliteracy that truly sets Lakeside apart from other districts. I urge you to please act quickly to ensure Mandarin enrichment continues at both middle schools. Our students and their futures depend on it. Thank you.
Ms. Kai, you wanna come on up?
It's good. It'll catch you, okay? Good evening. My name is Kakalani Grosvenor. Like my mom said, there's a problem with the Mandarin program at LMS. I haven't been able to learn Mandarin for 3 weeks now. Our 0-period class is ready to learn Mandarin. We practice on Duolingo every day, but we don't have a Mandarin teacher. This matters because of how much we can do knowing English, Spanish, and Mandarin. If I wanted to, I could go to more countries all over the world and be able to understand what everyone is saying. I could be a translator, get into really good colleges, and most importantly, go on tour as a singer-songwriter in multiple languages. My parents made this decision for me before I was even born, before I was too young to understand how this could help me. But now I have this knowledge, and I don't want to lose it. 我爱我的学校，所以你可以帮我吗? That means I love my school. Can you help me, please? I do know, like, if you were trying and I just wasn't aware, then what I'm saying now is don't give up. This is for the kids at school who know Mandarin or want to know Mandarin, and there shouldn't be anything in the way of education. Thank you.
Is Ashley Palmer, are you here? Ashley? Okay, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we will move on to presentation from our Assistant Superintendent Lisa Davis on our 2024-2025 unaudited actuals.
So we are done with 24-25. It's always, a little bit of a interesting time of the year when we're buttoning up 24-25, and then we've adopted 25-26, and we're already operating in the new school year, but yet we're still doing things until this time of year for the previous school year.
Just ignore it.
And just to review a little bit of a year in review, last year when we did our enrollment counts, the CBEDS enrollment count in October, we had 4,515 students. At P2 in April, our enrollment was 4,696. Our P2 certified came in about 94.29%, and you know, I've been talking about, and we have been making strides with our ADA of increasing that, because about every percent that we go up is about another $400,000 or $500,000 the district generates in income. So that's super impactful. The target is always about 97% ADA. And the certified amount for this current year, 42 or for 24-25 was 4,208.21. But we get the option. There's 3 options now. You either can be funded in your current year, your prior year, or if whichever one's greater, or a 3-year average. So last year, 23-24, we were able to utilize a 3-year average, but that was also including the tail end of the COVID ADA that we were able to utilize. So that's gone now. So now it's not super beneficial. It's pretty close, but we were funded on a prior year. And that's kind of typical for declining-ish enrollment districts to be able to utilize that prior year ADA. That's what we get the monies off of. Our unduplicated pupil counts were 2,128, or 43.48% percentage. That's important to know because some of our funding comes from the UPP, and we're not quite, we get some funding, but we don't quite get the maximum funding because it's usually 50 to 55% or more that districts really benefit from the UPP counts. Certificated non-management, we had 270.8 full-time equivalent employees, and for classified we had 257.8, and then management was 31.8. Oops. So our general fund overview, these are our final numbers. Revenues total that we came in at was $71.6 or $0.7 million. Expenditures, we spent 79.6. You can see the beginning fund balance starting the year last year. What I want to point out is when you get to the end, under the ending fund balance, we are making progress in correcting our deficit spending out of the general fund. We did much better this year when we closed. So this year, we're still deficit spending, but we're at 2.5 million. In previous years, it's been around 3.5, 4. So we're definitely making progress on correcting that. And what you do want to see under the restricted column is that's okay to deficit spend, because those are generally, the majority of those dollars are one-time dollars that have a due date on them and we have to spend them by a certain time period. So that's okay to see the negative in restricted. You don't really want to see very much on unrestricted, or if you are, to see improvements year over year. So our unrestricted general fund balance reserve was 4.98%. I always just show it combined at 16.10, but it's truly the state only looks at the unrestricted or the 4.9. Our contributions that we had going out this year totaled $10,702,072.61. $8 million of that were for our special education programs. We all talk about this, the shortfalls in the special education funding from both federal and state, and the requirements that we have far outweigh, and the expenditures with those requirements far outweigh the funding that we ever get from those 2 sources. And then $2.3 million for a routine restricted maintenance account. That's a state requirement that whenever you have bond dollars, you have to put, those dollars actually come from our unrestricted general fund, and it goes over into the restricted general fund to show specifically how we spend that on a deferred maintenance type routine restricted maintenance projects. And here I just broke it down, revenue comparison. I wanted to show you, I thought it was kind of important to show when we started the year where our adopted budget for 24-25 was at, and then where we were at second interim, and then where we actually ended. So the difference I took between where we had adopted and what the actuals, so beginning and end of the school year. So you can kind of see some of those, how school district budgets definitely do not ever stay static. They ebb and flow, and there's always changes throughout the year, making adjustments, either receiving more money or some unintended expense comes in, and so you're having to put that into the budget. And then the same for our expenditure comparison. And then I just did another one of the comparison of where we ended for 24-25, and then where we're starting for the adopted budget. Kind of the same thing, but different view. Let's see. I broke down for our other, we have quite a few other district funds, and so we have a small little pupil transportation equipment fund. We've spent a little bit out of this, or, well, not a little, did spend intentionally some out of it this year to use for our transportation equipment. The money's kind of been sitting there for a while, and just made a decision to spend some of that so we didn't have to impact any of our other funds. Fund 17, the monies that came in there, I spoke to you about. It was the closure of a charter school from a long time ago, and we finally finalized everything, so that money we decided to put into Fund 17 to have as a rainy day fund for, you know, if any other needs come up. But it also, when we do our reporting, Fund 1 and Fund 17 are inclusive of each other, so if you add both of those together, we have a 5.5% reserve. And then our 2 charter schools, we do, we authorize 2 charter schools. We are responsible for their financials and their reporting and stuff. So here's the combined balances of those if you want them broken out. I have that here. Corona Charter School ended the year with about $1.4 million, and River Valley ended up with $879,000. As you can see, Fund 21, the bond fund is fully expensed. No more funds in the bond fund. Our capital facilities, those are any developer fees that we get through. We still do get some projects. There's a couple of projects being built on west end of the lakeside that will be seen as those homes are sold, and the developer's gonna have to come in. There's a little bit of a nuance now that until it's, I think, sold and occupied, then they bring the form in for us to collect, the school districts to collect the developer fees. Fund 40 is another special reserve that we keep for any of our deferred maintenance. That was in our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. That was a big deal of what are we going to do to continue maintaining our facilities, especially some of the ones that we just finished with projects. And so this is the fund where we're keeping monies in there to continue to work on our facilities, to maintain them and to keep them in working order. And then Fund 51, that's not a fund that we touch, that's just, I show it for information only, but it's our bond interest and redemption fund. So that's with the county treasurer, that's where the property or the taxes are, and that's how we make our payment towards the bonds. That was it. We ended the year, I was very pleased with how we ended the year. And like I said, we were turning that corner and making some good progress on not deficit spending, but finding that balance of taking care of our employees, taking care of our facilities, and still having enough for our our operations budget, for our educational experiences for our students. And you don't build Rome in a day, but when you're deficit spending, you try to make it as painless as possible when you're trying to correct that. So I feel like we're doing a good job with that. And I appreciate the board's support when we've had discussions about the district's budget and superintendent, new superintendent. But any questions?
Any questions for Lisa?
No, not for me.
Ron? All right, so we will now, adoption is requested of the 2024-2025 unaudited actuals for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. I will now entertain motions.
I'm ready to adopt.
Thank you, Autumn. Is there a second?
That's
Thank you, Ron. Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda, I will now be looking for a motion to designate items to the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Autumn. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Andrew. All in favor?
Aye.
And is there anything you guys would like to pull from the consent agenda?
I don't think so, not for me.
Okay. All right, with not pulling any items, I will now entertain a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda with no exceptions. So moved. Thank you, Autumn. Second.
Second?
Thank you, Andrew. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, and opposed, so that passes as well. Which moves us on to our discussion items. The enrollment report for the beginning of the school year is there. If anybody have any questions on that? We had a first reading of Board Policy 0440, District Technology Plan, and recommended deletion of the Administrative Regulation 0440, District Technology Plan. I had one grammar piece that I sent to Rachel already because we had an extra word from when we married old policy and new policy together. So it didn't change anything other than just made the sentence flip. But were there any questions or concerns from anybody on this first reading? No? Okay, so we will bring that back with the correction to next meeting for adoption. We have first reading of administrative regulation and exhibit 3512 on equipment. Is there any questions or concerns on that one?
No, for me, it's straightforward enough.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll bring that back for adoption at the next meeting. We have first reading of board policy 5112.5, open closed campus. Questions or concerns? I see you
Yes.
shaking your head.
Yes.
I have notes, so.
I guess overall, we implemented this kind of systematically a few years ago because of safety concerns. And so essentially what I'd like to do with the policy, or I'd like to evaluate with the policy as we go forward is, every site kind of set their own environment, as I recall. I think we set some overarching kind of protocol, but then I think sites kind of determine certain things. I don't know if that's accurate or right, but that's what I recall. And the way I'm reading this is just, it really, to me, I want to make sure parents know that you got to follow protocol. You have to, absolutely, and I want your staff to make sure that they know that they're safe, they weren't going to barge through, I recognize that. But I also want to balance that with, kind of the bureaucratic red tape that I think parents may sometimes feel they have to go through. And so I don't, I think this is a very simple policy in and of itself. But I think the implementation portion, whether that's the AR, whether that's kind of just what practice is, perhaps we get feedback on what that is so that we can put a little more flesh on this.
So I'm assuming you're talking about paragraph 3 and referencing to the parent guardian portion.
Yes.
Okay, yes. And that was my concern as well, because I did look at all of the districts surrounding us. So I looked at policy on all 9 other school districts. 6 do have open, closed campus policies. Every single one of them only references paragraphs 1, 2, and 4. There's not a single one out there that references anything to parents. So there are also 3 that don't have any policy, which I do agree with the students closed campus portion that needs to be laid out. That is across the board. Our students are on campus and they shouldn't be leaving campus without permission. But it's that parent guardian portion that I have concern when part of our goals is engagement and parent engagement and getting parents involved, and then we're saying, hey, but you can't be on campus unless you're already scheduled to volunteer and have a principal's permission. So I think we need to relook at the wording of it possibly and the intent.
Well, I just want to make sure that I'm with you. I want to make sure that we're not sending the wrong message, right?
Correct.
Because here's what I'm concerned about is, oh, hi, I want to walk my student to school, to their classroom because they want to do so. And they're like, no, you're not here to do that. No, you can't do it. Well, that's a little rough in my mind. So, what if students have a bad day? I think all those things matter. So I think as long as our intent is clear that we want to make sure it's as open as possible. Now, I'm also not of the mind that you just barge in and say, I'm coming on the site. I recognize that can be challenging for teachers. So I think there's a fine balance here, but I agree with you. I think there's some limiting factors. So.
Yeah, I definitely think there's some more discussion needed on, I would, without hesitation, take paragraphs 1, 2, and 4 and say, yes, this is a great policy in itself. It's that paragraph 3 component that I think if we're going to include it, needs to have some more discussion and some writing on it. And maybe that's something that would be good as part of the policy committee to bring it into that one where we can have those discussions.
Sure.
Okay, if everybody agrees with that, then
Yeah,
we'll
good
bring
with
that to the policy committee. Okay. That moves us on to legislative updates.
Yes, so this is next board policy, but I wanted to pass out to the board a draft of a revision for our board policy 5021, which is non-custodial. What I wanted to do is kind of address it broadly first. So the reason I'm proposing this is it's the board policy on non-custodial parents, and we have a very clear policy. But this edit is in advance of the presumed passage of AB 495 in Sacramento. I have grave concern about the bill and grave concern about the broad definitional impact from the bill. I understand the intent, but the terms that they're using in the bill are broad, and I'd like to preempt some of that by passing our own local policy that clarifies what we're going to do and what the board's belief is about non-custodial parents and bringing a caregiver affidavit and other forms. And I just want to ensure that the public knows that we're prioritizing safety and verification of who those folks are. I recognize in the district that we already do that. It's really a policy that we do at the sites. I want the board to memorialize that in policy so that it's formal and it's clear that that's our priority. So that's really what this is. I really think it's important that we do that. So I want to kind of point you to where the edits are on this page. So if you look at paragraphs 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay, those are the existing, that's the existing policy. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the existing policy. Below that, everything below that is my proposed additional language that I'd like to see added to the policy. So my request is that, one, take a look at that, read it, and then I would like to get this passed at our next meeting because it's time's of the essence here, and I want this passed in my view, before the governor signs the bill. I think that's very important from a legal perspective for us because we are enhancing a policy that right now doesn't exist in law. So we've created our own policy, and that will be stronger when and if they pass this bill so that there's a safety component for us. And really it's just about, it's kind of enforcing what we do. It's if they bring the caregiver affidavit and they're not on the approved list, that the emergency contact list that we have, then we want to say, hey, who are you? Like, are you some random person? Or are you somebody who the parents have trusted the care to, right? And I think that is something we can do. So, and again, asking for photo ID in the event, and you'll see in here some of the detail, but ultimately, you know, if they bring that in, well, that form can be notarized very easily. If it's that important to you, it can be notarized. And so I think, and that can be done quickly, and it's a formal process, but it's safety, it's very clear to me. So those are the things here. Open to your thoughts and edits and suggestions.
I just have a question. What's the language? What words are they?
So
that are concerning to you?
Well, to me, it's the broadness of something, right? So they're changing the definition of non-guardian caregiver, and it opens to me it opens the door. And I'm not saying that could happen, but it could. I don't want to think the worst of people, but when kids are at stake, I don't know if I don't want to put it at risk, put it that way. And so, for me, saying that if you're just somebody who said, I'm a caregiver, and the parents said that I could come and pick them up, but we have no way of verifying that, that's too broad for me. So I want to make sure that we are formalizing, and it opens the door to predators and it's just bizarre, the bill. So I'd like for us to be proactive and set up a policy that is clear in our district. So that's what this is.
Questions, concerns? Maybe more time to read it over? Any edits you would want to this if we did bring it forward, or do you oppose bringing it forward? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like that it directs certain things. My question as to how we're doing it is, would some of it be better on an AR as opposed to a board policy? Possibly not. It's where I'm trying to,
I'm slightly, here's my concern.
Because we don't have an AR to it, so me creating a whole new AR where I don't think it necessarily puts to an AR, but I just want to, I want to discuss it.
I'm open, to me, that's fine. Here's the challenge with the AR.
Yeah.
The board policy has to be clear about what the intent is and so this, to me, is so fundamentally clear. It's addressing what's happening in the bill. And the reason for that is, when the bill passes, and we've done this before it happens, the board policy intent is very clear. The AR can't be in conflict with board policy. If you remember certain regulations we can pass it, if the board policy prevails, if the AR is in conflict. I don't want them to be in conflict. Obviously, I'd like board policy to be consistent with the AR. So that way we're covered because we're going above and beyond protecting our students on this. And so, and our families, quite frankly. So if we can keep maybe one or two of these paragraphs that I've added to the policy, but then move it to an AR, some of the rest, I'm good with that. Just as long as the intent is clear. So that could look like this. It could look like paragraph 2 in my edits
Mhm.
and paragraph 4 in my edits, which would be added to the VP board policy.
Right.
And then paragraph, middle 2 paragraphs there between the sandwich. Those can go to the AR, because those are technical. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Yeah, so, I mean, it really doesn't change what we're doing at all, other than just memorializing what we're currently doing, other than asking for when there's an additional affidavit that shows up that's not listed on the emergency contact list, that the custodial parent is contacted to verify that that affidavit is correct. Which truthfully just is better on our side as well. What I would recommend, since it appears that everybody is good with bringing this forward with edits, I would say that we run this just to make sure, just run it through legal to make sure we don't need to split off into an AR, or we can keep it all in the board policy. Because that way, if we can, just keep it all and we can, but if we need to split it into 2, then we can do that as well. And we just give them a short timeline of here's what we need to do to run it through, because it doesn't change much of what we already have. It's just kind of explaining it out a little bit.
Yeah, and I would say there's 3 prongs to this.
Okay, lay them out.
So what we already do with somebody who's a non-custodial parent
Right.
is we say, provide the photo ID. So we do. We're throwing that in here.
A non-custodial parent.
Meaning
So, yeah, so how it is right now, speaking from experience, I had to provide all of the court documents to the school to show that they could or could not either attend or pick up from school. And then from that point, if they were on the list, they could come and attend certain things with advance notice or not at all. So
we already-
same thing, right,
we
we
did that.
have that already.
What this is doing is it's addressing the state bill with the form.
Correct.
And it's saying, if someone, Joe Blow off the street, walks in and says, hi, what we do is we say, well, is it notarized? Where's your ID? And where's the parent's permission? Now, that's for one scenario. The secondary scenario is if the person comes in and says, they're off the street, but they're on the list, then it goes right in.
Right, checks all the boxes.
It checks boxes, and we go into our normal scenario, right? Because they're
They
there.
have to show ID for that, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
They're on the
everybody
list.
has. If you
Everybody
are
does.
picking your child up early from school, it does not even matter if you are the mother, you are showing ID.
Yeah.
Well, they should be making sure some, okay, yeah.
But-
So let's be clear, we are
That's-
showing
that's-
ID.
That's the idea, right? And so, those are kind of the 2 prongs. So, yeah, like I say, the urgency on this
Correct.
is.
No, I agree on the
Very
urgency.
critical, very critical.
Which we would have just like a day or 2 to run it through real quick. But I'd be okay with that.
Well, thank you.
Being that the majority of it is in policy, not necessarily in policy, but are going to be practice. So.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to, and from a legal perspective, practice doesn't hold up.
Correct.
We as the board need to say, here is what we are doing.
All right,
Okay.
so.
Can I ask
Yeah,
one more
go ahead.
clarifying question?
Please do
This
so.
might be very naive of me. What is the caregiver affidavit? Is that something specific that they're referring to? Is that the?
Yeah, it's a form that you can bring.
It's an actual form.
Here's where the bill is coming into play.
Okay.
So, the proponents of the bill are saying, well, what if the students' parents were taken by ICE? And we have processed, a lot of that is just kind of like, oh, wait, what? But what they're doing is, by going through this, they're changing certain definitions because what they're trying to say is, well, what if somebody's father is the only person they have and they don't have anybody? They have no one. So they broadened the definition of a guardian. And that to me is concerning because it could then just be somebody. So the guardrails and the safeguards, it opens the door and kind of undoes the protection policies that we already have, and it creates this weird conflict. So that's why I'm saying, let's be proactive here. We do a lot of this work already, and we know we do that. But our parents are scared about this. So we need to make sure that we're showing them, hey, we're taking our safety practice and then we're going a little bit above and beyond to address the bill directly, which is what that form is, because that's the key, that's the problematic point of the bill.
But I'm just wondering, does that form, the caregiver affidavit, is that actually coming from the state of California? They have a form?
There are.
Like it's an
It's not a
actual
state
form, or it's just a, okay. So
But
it's an actual
you can,
form that.
you can, and there's a whole legal
Got it,
mumbo
okay.
jumbo behind it.
Okay.
But the whole point is, the broadness of the legal language in the bill is what concerns me. And because it creates a wide open door. And and not to say that our school district would do that,
No,
but to say that I want to make sure we're not in conflict with the law, so that somebody brings the form and says, hey, you didn't give me the kid. And then we get sued because we didn't give them the kid. No, we're not giving you the kid if you're some random. We don't want to do that. The kid doesn't even know you. But again, we don't know. So I think the point is, and would that have happened? Doubtful. I trust our staff wouldn't do that. But again, it comes down to the fact that we've got to make sure we're, as the board, putting something down that gives us the ability to basically exempt ourselves. And so anyway, that's what I'm saying.
And what do we do currently? So let's say two parents are in a car accident, right? They're the only people on the list, and there was a kid sitting in school. Do they call just CPS and then take him into state custody? I mean, this issue has had to come up before.
Yeah, in that specific, I mean, there's so many different scenarios, but ultimately, we communicate with our parents the importance of having a robust list. They're able to put, for those parents, you can put neighbors, other family members, anybody on that list. So
Yeah.
when they do come in with a limited number, we'll encourage them, is there anybody else that may be picking up, that type of thing. And then we just navigate situations as they come up. Communication, it's obviously a lot easier when the phone numbers are working and there are multiple people on there, but we always operate in the kids' best interest. I love that, the policy the governing board is committed to student safety. That's what this is all about, right? Is making sure that our kids are safe on campuses.
And it's a communication thing to parents, right? So it's also making sure, listen, it's about saying to parents, saying, we're with you. We need you guys to give us this stuff so that we can do this work. And we're committed to doing that, and so here's how we're gonna do that. And then from my perspective, this is a preemption on some of the stuff that I can, because when we have local policy, we'll be able to say, listen, we're going above and beyond this. It's parallel to what the state's doing. So that's the key, because then if somebody brings this, we've already went above and beyond. We are parallel, because they're broadening the terms and we're just reacting. So to me, we're couching it nicely, but we have to do it soon.
A lot of times when you're dealing with those major situations, hospital situations, things like that, we're dealing with those agencies too. The hospitals have their social services departments that are stepping in and saying, what can I do to help you? And then they're working with law enforcement and they're working with students, so that it's a whole collective across many different departments.
Right.
To focus on those families.
Yeah.
So this is more so outside of those instances. I mean, it'll probably come up sometimes, but like in those instances, like those policies and protocols are amazing of what they offer to families and the help that they give.
I'm just thinking, if we already have a general protocol for dealing with this situation, then, just putting this into place is just a further safeguard, because I agree with Andrew that opportunities where we don't need them. I mean, we already have protocols in place that would take care of those students if they were in that situation, so, yeah.
Yeah, which is why I don't think it'll be a lengthy anything with legal, because I just want to make sure we have all the wording right that needs to be, and referencing that we need to do, but I don't see it taking too long, being that it is existing stuff. So if everybody's okay, we'll run it through legal and then bring it back to next week's board meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other
So
2
next
weeks.
week, okay.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Sorry, 2
Next
weeks.
week.
It is next week.
Ah.
That's what I thought. It
Yes.
is next Thursday.
Yes.
We have a meeting next week. I'm like, in my mind, yes, we do. It's the SPSA.
Oh. I'm glad you said
You know, all those acronyms.
You want to say something?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else on legislative updates?
I mean, that's the biggest one, other than 8084, the bill, the charter school bill, you know, I've been very vocal in my opposition to that. Well, it would impact River Valley, and I'll just.
Has there been movement on
It's on the
it?
floor, we'll see
Okay.
it in the Senate, we'll see if it moves.
Is there, what is your gut on that?
It's going to pass.
That it will
It
pass?
will pass. It will pass. Then we can, if it passes, one of the things I would propose to the board when we do legal, not legal, when we do legislative updates moving forward as well, is when these bills that we don't like pass, we can, and they go to the government's desk, we can actually do veto, letters saying there be a veto bill, and we can actually take a position and veto, ask for a veto. So those are things that we can do on bills we really don't like, so.
Anybody else have any legislative updates or anything you want to discuss on that? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carrie Strong will not be here tonight because Lindo Park is having their back to school night right now. David Myers also has a meeting. Nope, we're on a different day. He does not have a meeting, so he has no excuse this time.
have a meeting right now.
I'm gonna say he has no excuse this time.
It's next week.
It's not correct. I'm like, wait, I have a whole week off on this one. Okay, well, with that, I will call upon Lisa Davis for an update.
Okay, don't have a lot. I just want to say thank you to the staff that I oversee, the maintenance and operations. They've been doing just a great job getting things done over the summer, all the projects, and just getting things tidy and ready for school to start. And as always, there's always little snafus when school starts, but they've been Johnny on the spot and trying to address everything as quickly as possible. And if they can't, Christine's getting communication out, letting staff know whys and estimated timelines. So that's super excited about that. Christy in in child nutrition is just rocking it, getting the meals, talking about doing some different pilots and samples with the kids to test some new products and food. And just had a meeting. I'm super excited about the I'm gonna get it wrong.
Flex Farm.
Flex Farms. She has a grant that she can utilize the funds, and yesterday in leadership asked all of the schools who would be interested, and like she was expressing to me today, she was overwhelmed with, like, she didn't even have to really pitch and sell. But as soon as she said what it was, everybody's like, how many can we have? And, so she's getting those ordered, and so it'll be fun to see it at the different school sites.
What is it?
They're Flex Farms.
Yeah, what is it?
Hydroponics.
It's a
Oh, the
hydroponic.
hydroponics
Yeah,
box.
like what
Okay,
she
got
has.
it.
I think we all
Like we
visited
have
this.
here.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
So each school site's gonna get minimally 2.
Nice.
And, so it's super exciting, so she's really excited about that.
If I can add, the kids will grow vegetables, they'll come here for processing, and then they'll be able to have them on their carts at school, which is awesome.
So, yeah, I think that's so cool to do things like that within our school district. Jared, you saw ESS, he's just got a great program. Brandon Technology, they did the Chromebooks, piloted the collection and then redistribution at the beginning of the year. Again, it was a new process, a little, blips here and there, but overall it's worked out really well. And Samantha in finance, and we shared with you, getting all the folks, the whole team in business. I want a huge shout out because they've been working their tails off, getting the books closed, the accruals booked, and then turning right around. I think it's the third week in October, or when our auditors are coming in to audit the unaudited actuals. So, yeah, just everybody has just been really great and super supportive and just committed to doing a good job for this district. Thanks to all those folks and to everyone again here, the whole team.
Robin Bauer. Oh, hi, everybody. I wanted to give my report a little bit about some updates in human resources and the various offices that report to human resources. And of course, like I was predicting to Rachel, we practice.
It's a tech thing, you know.
I don't think there's been one meeting I've ever been to where we've never had an issue.
We even had it at the kickoff. Every year at the kickoff. You were no exception. Yep. It's just a thing.
There you go.
Yes.
Yay, Rachel. Thank you so much,
Push
Rachel.
buttons.
Good job. So just to take a couple minutes to update and overview what, the offices that come through human resources directly, fantastic staff, and I inherited a great group of folks. Pupil services, the district nurses, and shared risk management responsibilities come through human resources. And really what human resources generally are is the heart of an organization. If you think about it, anyone who gets a job, they all have to come through human resources. All of the onboarding, the questions, salary, benefits, kind of triaging questions and then sending them to the experts and our wonderful partners in the business office. So we think about human resources in general as the heart of an organization because blood flows through and it starts with the heart, and we look at the totality of the operation. And so that's our mission. And so as we think about that, I just wanted to kind of focus on the different separate pieces that run through the Lakeside Union Human Resources Department. And I think that's a little small maybe for people. So just some quick overviews. You know our staff in our department, they are very dedicated. They've been with us a long time. And we oversee a deep, wonderful group of people and serve the needs both in their hiring, but also in maintaining, in partnership with ed services and business services with professional development, ongoing training, and trying to staff with our substitutes all ranges of activities and actions within the district. So we also oversee the teaching side of the house, all credentials, all certifications, professional degrees. We get to send out the NAG letters to people to renew their credentials and their certifications. We also support them in finding additional, Lisa Mendoza does a tremendous job finding out and staying on top of all of the evolving natures of credentials throughout the state of California, and working to make sure that we have the best licensures and with people who are in compliance with that. So these are just some highlights that I've mentioned before. We focus also with your great support and leadership along with the superintendent and cabinet on the policies, practices, and procedures to make us compliant and to make sure that we are implementing our best practices and putting us our best foot forward with transparency and understanding so that all employees can come to us with trust and get their questions answered, but also we research to make sure the answers we give them are correct. We spend a lot of time staffing our sites and programs daily and partner with all of our other departments, we hope, effectively. And one department that we worked very closely with, I supervise and support and encourage and welcome and celebrate pupil services and Dr. Patty Fernandez, who in the crowd, you may not notice, she's in the crowd as she typically is on our board nights, but Patty and her mighty group there work very hard. And these are just really high-level highlights. It couldn't fit all in one short presentation, but we have 3 community liaisons and 1 office assistant that supports some of the work that goes through the pupil services, and oversees, Patty and her folks oversee the McKinney-Vento and our district safety committee, our student discipline and student attendance. Very huge priority in aligning with our LCAP and with board priorities and superintendent priorities to make sure that we're aligning our actions with our goals. And she also partners with all of our district counselors and many departments within the district to make sure that we have coherence and supports around a ton of programs that support students directly. Another program that the 2 district RNs, I supervise and coordinate and support their tremendous work with the 6 site LVNs, and we have 2 site health technicians. Again, a tremendous district nursing is district-wide, enormous numbers of students with health needs, some complex, some less than complex. We heard a wonderful student tonight with her presentation at LMS, and so that's just one small example of the variety of kinds of supports that the district nursing services. They're also in charge of implementing all of the state mandated at different grade levels, all the different hearings for vision, hearing, and all kinds of grade level health requirements for all 4,500 students. There's something happening with every grade level every year, which can be quite amazing to watch. If anybody ever wants to watch that, it's hilarious to see the little kinders come through and do their little vision test, and they're so adorable. And the 8th graders are enthusiastic about their hearing test too. Shared risk management with business services, a terrific partnership, just making sure that on the HR side of the house, we tend to deal with, we're the first point of contact for any workman's compensation claim. We want safety practices, we want facilities and awareness and education to our employees around things like closed-toed shoes are a good idea if you're running on, out at PE. So that kind of thing. We also have the requirements with our state-required interactive dialogues for any employee who presents a concern with their health, so that we can evaluate accommodations, modifications, and appropriateness to maintain the health and safety of the employee, but also the services and support for the students that we need in our programs. We also proactively evaluate the working conditions to prevent health risks and to maintain our obligations to folks. And we began with the heart, and I like to end with the heart. And we're here to serve, and we're thrilled with the work that we do. I think everyone's very positive and supportive, and I'm very honored to work with the folks that I do and to be in Lakeside. And didn't mean to trap you all at different times at the back-to-school nights as exiting and entering.
That's fine.
That's okay.
We see you everywhere.
Well, I didn't mean to, we just kept doing the same dance, but anyhow, thank you. It was fun, wasn't it? It's always a good time there. So, thank you very much. Joanne Spear.
So the last time we were all together, I was just reflecting, was our August PD day, so just 2 days before the school year started. So as I think you all already know, because I've seen many of you on school campuses at back-to-school nights, we have had a really successful, positive start to the school year. Walking every school campus, talking talking with our principals, visiting classrooms, seeing what's happening. It's always wonderful. This year feels extra calm and I just feel like everyone felt really prepared for this school year. So it's hard for me to put a finger on why it feels a little bit different than it has in the past, but it has been just really positive. And I think we've gotten a lot of our systems dialed in, and I think we've gotten services in place for a lot of our students who have maybe needed services, so that it's always a little rocky in the beginning of the year with our 4 and 5-year-olds who are adjusting to being away from their families and doing a long school day. But this year we seem to have had fewer issues, which I think is really wonderful at the beginning of the school year. And then I just wanted to update the board on the Williams visits that we just had at 2 of our schools. So you've heard about Williams before because TDS was on a 3-year cycle to get Williams visits. Well, they're off that cycle, but this last year we were notified that Lakeside Farms and Lindo Park would be on the Williams visit schedule, and that is something that makes our principals very nervous because they're coming in to audit curriculum, make sure we have all of the required information up in classrooms, and they're also looking at our facilities. So Christine Rosado and her team did an amazing job working ahead to evaluate, prepare our school sites for those facilities visits. Bev from my office worked closely with Tessa and Jim on making sure that they had everything ready for the Williams visit. Our library techs at both schools did a great job of making sure all the curriculum was out in classrooms, ready to go for those visits. They happened this past Monday. And they were both very, very positive. We haven't been given a written report yet, but as far as we know from the feedback we got live in those meetings, was that we were good to go on curriculum. There were a couple minor issues that we were able to resolve right then and there and grab whatever it was that they needed to see. And then we think we may have one minor finding for facilities, but it's something that Christine already has a plan to resolve. So we're not sure exactly what the paper report is going to say at the end of the day, but overall the visits were really positive. Our principals did an amazing job. The team did a great job. And I think our principals are just relieved that it's over. Now that they've done it once, they'll be more ready, confident, and kind of know what to expect for the next 2 years of visits.
And Lisa Mendoza submitted the credentialing correctly.
Yay!
So there's a credential part to the Williams visit as well.
Okay, I did not realize that.
It's all done
Behind the scenes,
behind the
ahead of
scenes.
time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mr. Gergens.
Yeah, I wanted to thank the community and board and district staff. We had a couple of meet the superintendent events, and I appreciate everyone. And it was great to connect with so many people at both of those. Awesome to see you all at the back to school night. Thank you for supporting our schools and our staffs, and fantastic turnouts. And I'm looking forward to hearing about tonight's turnouts as well. But really great to see all the parents, willing to take the time and able to take the time to get their students' year started off on a correct foot. Want to give out our thoughts and condolences to the families that were affected by the fire, the coach's fire. Unfortunately, here in Lakeside and East County, we have a lot of experience dealing with these, and we always rally around those families. I know that there's an El Capitan family that is the staff there starting an adoptive family type thing, and we'll make sure that we're part of that as well. But and then lastly, just wanted to call out the staffs at Lemon Crest and Tierra del Sol. Early in the year, I think it was the second week of school, we got an unplanned power outage, which creates a whole set of logistical issues with bells not working, telephones, technology, obviously, things like that. And I was able to be over at Lemon Crest, but then got reports from TDS. The staff's handled it fantastically. It was like we had power outages every day. They had protocols in place, everything was smooth, very calm feeling on Lemon Crest campus, and I give Principal Price and obviously Dr. Arvin great credit for that. So rallying their staffs when we need to. So that's it.
Thank you. All right, with that, we are going to move back into closed session to finish out our public employee evaluation.